Good afternoon and welcome to Newsa. I am Esther Susanit Bassi. Coming up, SRB elections, Civil Rights Coalition calls for a free, fair and transparent process. Persons living with disabilities at Kisido Ked appeal for basic amenities. And the residents of Gaza community urges government action over recurring rockfalls and erosion that threaten lives and property during heavy rains. Well, these stories and more, including our segment, are lined up in this edition. Please stay with us. Welcome back, and now for our first story. First Bank Sierra Leone has expressed strong interest in supporting Sierra Leone's infrastructure development. The bank's Group Chief Executive Officer made this commitment during a courtesy visit to President Julius Maada Bio at State House. He says the bank is ready to introduce innovative financing solutions to help drive investment and economic growth. Our senior State House correspondent Margaret Senge reports.
The discussion between President Julius Maada Bio and a high-power delegation from First Bank Sierra Leone at State House focused on investment opportunities in the country's infrastructure sector. Introducing the delegation, Minister of Finance Sheku Fantamadi Bangura described the team as experienced financial leaders with a strong presence across West Africa. He said government has been engaging the bank on ways to attract investments, create opportunities, and strengthen Sierra Leone's economy.
I see he's a very well-placed financial experts in the sub-region. Discussions have been very productive on what they are doing in the country, what they hope to do in terms of pipeline. And I believe they are well-placed to support us in development aspirations, but also taking through innovative solutions in ways that they're asking us to take about.
Speaking on behalf of the delegation, Group Chief Executive Officer of First Bank Group, Olusegun Alebiosu, reaffirmed the bank's commitment in supporting Sierra Leone's development agenda. He said First Bank is ready to work with government and other partners to develop initiative financing models that can unlock investment and accelerate infrastructure development. According to him, strategic investment in infrastructure can boost economic growth, create jobs, and improve the lives of citizens.
We're interested in supporting that road, power, electricity, if we need that to be, development of other infrastructure and mines that we might want to do. We'll see how we jointly accelerate development at this point.
President Bio welcomed the bank's interest and praised the private sector's role in national development. He reiterated his government's commitment to creating an environment that encourages investment and sustainable economic growth.
Lately, I've been talking to the minister and other ministers about innovative financing, especially working with the private sector. As you know, the window for ODA is almost closed. We are all having to cater for ourselves around the world, and the human being is most ingenious when we are challenged. And as operators in this economy, it would be nice for us to look at ways, not killing the banks, but also creating other avenues for us to have the means to be able to develop, especially the infrastructure, the innovative finance that you are talking about.
The president stressed that infrastructure remains at the heart of his government's development agenda. He said roads, Energy, transport, and other crucial infrastructure projects are essential for transforming the economy and improving service delivery. President Bio added that Sierra Leone looks forward to building strong partnership that will deliver tangible results for the people.
We have been thinking quite a lot along that line, but it's always extremely difficult. But if we sit down and have a conversation, we can, of course, allay your fears, but identify established cash flow from certain institutions so that you know that, okay, you are making a sacrifice now, but at the end of the day, you will have returns as a bank. But that allows us not to be stuck in the past, but to move on with the development programs. And of course, we have also come to realize that infrastructure has a multiplier effect. It is the basic for development. I mean, infrastructure, meaning everything from electricity, water supply, and roads and bridges. We are in the middle of those things, but we need to do them consistently for a very long time before we start to see the benefit.
Founded in 1894, First Bank is Nigeria's oldest financial institution and one of leading banking groups in West Africa. The bank says it is optimistic that the partnership with Sierra Leone will help introduce new financing opportunities to support the country's infrastructural drive. For SLBC News, Margaret Senger reporting.
A 35-year-old businessman, Ibrahim Mansaye, has been granted bail by Magistrate Mustafa Ibrahim Ajah of Pademba Road, Court Number 1, after appearing before the court on 2 counts of alleged fraud-related offences. Mohammed Koma reports.
The defendant, Ibrahim Mansaye, is charged with issuing a check against insufficient funds contrary to Section 42(1) of the Payment Systems Act of 2009 and fraudulent conversion contrary to Section 21 of the Larceny Act of 1916. According to the particulars of the offence, on 20th April 2026 at number 26 Yakasivin Street, Freetown, the accused allegedly issued a Sierra Leone Commercial Bank Limited check bearing serial number 04730442 with a face value of 50,000 leones to Alhaji Alusain Jallo, knowing that there were insufficient funds in the accounts to cover the payment. In count 2, it was alleged that on 17th March 2026, at the same address, Mansaye fraudulently converted to his own use 40 toner ink cartridges valued at 2,000 leones each, amounting to a total of 80,000 leones. The items were allegedly entrusted to him by Alhaji Alusain Jallo for the purpose of sale. The defendant did not take a plea as the matter is before the court on committal proceedings. Defense counsel E.J. Auna renewed and adopted a previous bail application on behalf of the defendant. Ruling on the application, Magistrate Jah granted bail in the sum of 100,000 leones with 2 sureties in like sum. The magistrate said that one of the sureties must be employed or provide proof of business from a reputable institution. He added that both sureties must be Sierra Leonean citizens residing in Freetown and must produce valid identification documents. He concluded that the bail conditions are to be approved by the Deputy Assistant Registrar. The matter was adjourned to 15th June 2026 for further hearing. For SLBC, Mohamed Koma reporting.
Persons living with disabilities at Kisi Dockyard in the east end of Freetown have raised concern over what they describe as poor living conditions and the deplorable state of the road network in the community. Our reporter Christiana Kamara has more.
The road bad for we, terms of living up good, mosquitoes they kill we, the gutter the whole block.
The road is in a deplorable condition for us. The living conditions are poor. Mosquitoes are disturbing us. Gutters are all blocked with dirt, and there are potholes everywhere.
They have the support, you want no country fuel, but who the road?
They say the main road, which is heavily used by companies transporting goods and gas, is in a deplorable condition. According to them, the situation has made movements difficult and unsafe, especially for persons living with disabilities, and has also affected business activities in the area. Members of the United Polio Brothers and Sisters Association said the community continues to face a number of challenges, including poor sanitation, lack of adequate health care, unstable electricity, and limited access to basic social services. Speaking to SLBC, Bumi Cole expressed concern over what she described as rising health and environmental risks in the area, pointing to nearby industrial activities, including gas-related factories. She added that persons with disabilities are finding it difficult to sustain small businesses due to lack of support and mobility challenges.
By then time there, where them to carry us to the load. We all wheelchair be me for let get word for pass with in the Monawi.
As of now, when those tankers are parked along the road, even to have access to move with our wheelchairs is challenging unless we go around. Whenever we express our dissatisfactions over the situation, the drivers ignore and insult us. We are not happy about that, and that is why we are calling on the government to assist by relocating us from here, as our lives are at risk.
So that's make we plead to Papa government, may they assist with that. Because right now we own life, it is at stake.
The Secretary General of the association, Saidu Abdullahi Sise, described the situation as serious, citing poor infrastructure, inadequate funding, and damage caused by a past fire incident, which he said has weakened the operations of the center. He said although the center continues to provide skills training and empowerment programs for persons with disabilities, limited resources remain a major constraint. Mr. Sise called for financial support to be channeled through the Ministry of Social Welfare, the Sierra Leone Union on Disability Issues, SLUDI, and the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities, saying this will ensure proper coordination and effective use of resources. He stressed the need for stronger enforcement of disability inclusion policies, especially in employment, education, and public infrastructure.
The international community, the UN Convention, and other, international organizations, they have made policy to include persons living with disability in all aspects of life. But in Sierra Leone, we are facing challenges on this policy, and we have the 2011 Act, which a lot of policies from that act is not followed.
The association appealed for urgent intervention to improve on the road network, strengthen social services, and the overall living conditions of persons with disabilities in the community. SLBC News in Freetown, Christiana Kamari reporting.
Residents of Gaza community along the mountain court in Freetown are calling for urgent government intervention following repeated accidents, falling rocks and erosion whenever it rains heavily. They say this continues to endanger lives and property. Here is the report.
As the rainy season approaches, concerns have been raised by residents living in Gaza along mountain court community. As you can see behind me are slopes that have become heavily eroded and occupied by mud. So SLBC took its camera to hear from residents as to the measures that should be put in place to tackle and prevent such disaster.
This is Gaza area on along Mountain Court community in the central parts of Freetown. Here, residents say they fear for their lives each day that passes by. These hanging rocks on the hill, poor drainage leading to flash floods are seen as time bombs, especially in slopey location. People here also say are risky for even those using this route.
We are facing serious challenges in this community. The road has become unsafe following several accidents, and water flowing down from the hillside continues to pose a serious threat to residents.
We call on government for letting them pay attention on a side like this.
For Idrissa, who is chairman for the Bike Riders Union in the area, describes the hill as disaster-prone. He claims several reports are being made to police and other authorities, but nothing is done to address the situation so far.
As you can see, this area remains very dangerous for people living here. I have made several reports to the police, appealing for authorities to help relocate residents in order to prevent further disasters. Prior to now, a severe incident occurred in this community, where about 6 to 8 people reportedly lost their lives. This is why I continue to describe the area as a potential disaster risk zone.
A resident, Kadiatu, recalls a moment when a makeshift structure collapsed, leading to a huge stone rolling from the very spot. She says if proactive measures are not taken, it may lead to loss of lives and property.
The disaster, the accidents where they happen,
the disasters and accidents occurring in this area are becoming too frequent. We will be very grateful if the authorities could break these large stones and properly level the area.
They can't help for break this stone, then level and to how if a day go gladden. Because yes, until you go to pass rain, they can stone come on, you can whap you.
The earlier they say may be better. Implementing safety measures, including having proper drainage systems, disaster may be imminent as the rains intensify. For SLBC News, Esther Suzanette Bassi reporting. Prior to the number of flash floods that have occurred in Sierra Leone causing disasters and leaving hundreds homeless, similar reoccurrence is at the verge of happening if actions are not taken. While SLBC Cynthia Kamara has cited blocked gutters on her tour to main streets in the city, which are believed to be the main cause of flooding in time past. She explained her findings in this report.
Many lives have been lost, properties destroyed in time past as a result of flooding in Sierra Leone. Most of those memories are still fresh in the hearts and minds of family members and as a country. The causes of those devastating experiences are still being practiced by Sierra Leoneans. On a tour to main roads and streets in Freetown, I observed that majority of the gutters are blocked with waste materials encompassing household waste and mega cola bottles, among others, that has barricaded the easy flow of water. Here at Sander Street, with only few drops of rain, has flooded the streets of Freetown as a result of blocked gutters. Water that should pass through drainages and gutters has been diverted to the main streets, causing discomfort for shop owners and pedestrians. Should Sierra Leoneans wait till disaster occurs before taking action? Was the question I first put to the Director of Communications, Disaster Management Agency, Mohamed Elba.
Waste management is one of the major factors responsible for floods in Freetown. That has been established, and we've done a lot of research around this, and it has been concluded that waste management is one of the major factors. So, and how do we arrive at that particular conclusion? It's because people are taking their dirt and throw them in the gutters, and when it is clogged, when it is rain, the rain will not have a way. It will find a way for itself. So that is the more reason why we are appealing to members of the public. Please let us be watchdogs for ourselves in our communities. Let us look at anybody that is there to throw dirt in our gutters, and let us take action. Let us pursue them. Let us take action like what Cyril Arrowsmith is doing along Samba Gutter. Let us ensure that even ourselves we stop doing that. Let us just wait when it is raining and we take our dirt and throw it in the guts, in our drainages. That it is inimical It is not good. It's a recipe for flooding. And when
What do we stand to experience this year as a country when the rain reached its peak in July and August as a result of the blocked gutters and waterways? With the recent weather forecast from the Meteorological Agency predicting heavy storms and rain this year, Sierra Leoneans should take responsibility as watchdogs in community by signaling alarm of those disposing wastages in gutters, hence saving lives and properties as the rain approaches. For SLBC News, Cynthia Kamara reporting.
An EDSA pole caught fire in the morning hours of the 1st of June in New Englandville community in Freetown. The residents rushed to the scene to quench the fire. Cables were burnt down, including a fiber optic cable connected to the pole. They relate this unfortunate incident to overloading of the only transformer that serves the entire community. Sulaiman Babature tells us more.
This has been the issue in recent years at New Englandville in Freetown. Frequent cable sparks and blackouts, even when other areas enjoy frequent electricity supply. This is the only transformer that supplies electricity to New Englandville and its growing areas, including Omole Bush and Common Pole, have given much workload to this transformer. When the transformer is overloaded due to excessive power demand from appliances in connected houses, offices and companies, the cables spark, which sometimes results to cables and poles catching fire, like the one that greeted the community people at around 7 a.m. this Monday. Though former councillor aspirant Omar Yusuf Fekar swiftly intervened, the EDSA and fiber optic cables had already burned.
It's really difficult at this moment where this kind of issue happen now.
It is rather unfortunate that it happens after the transformer has been maintained and we are enjoying sustainable electricity. If this issue is not addressed, it might lead to the transformer being burnt completely. EDSA needs to monitor the lines because the transformers have their limits in terms of voltage. If the load goes beyond that limit, it results to the problem we are having.
Because that thing they forget, it causes them problem.
Omar Yusuf Fekar also called on the fiber operators to go to the area and fix the fiber optic cable that was burnt down completely. Responding to the pole fire incident at New Englandville, EDSA standby electrician at New Englandville, Christian Durin, appealed for a transformer to be installed at Omole Bush, which also gets its electricity from the same transformer that supplies electricity to New Englandville community. He said the fiber optic cable placed very close to the EDSA cables ignited the fire after the cable sparked and dropped on the fiber rubber.
By right level, put one transformer inside Omole Bush.
There is supposed to be a transformer at Omole Bush. We all know how large the community has become, and there are people with over 2 to 3 refrigerators. So when all of those appliances consume power, it results to spark and fire because the transformer or cables will withstand the power.
If we day, we not be get freezer. We don't buy one freezer. Some man they get one. Now they get 3.
Though the burnt cables have been replaced, the community people also called for another transformer to avoid the reoccurrence of such incidents and blackouts. SLBC News, Sulaiman Babature reporting.
While you are watching News Hour live on the SLBC, we continue with more stories. The Minister of Energy, Cyril Arnold Grant, has lauded the energizing development Sierra Leone for its achievement and impact in improving access to sustainable energy solutions in Sierra Leone. According to the minister, although the global program has concluded, the government of Germany has agreed to support a new initiative on sustainable use of renewable energy. He was speaking at a high-level closing event held at the Country Lodge Hotel in Freetown as the project concludes after almost a decade of existence. Dennis Fraser reports.
And I hope you take this energy from Sierra Leone to your new endeavors.
The event was intended to showcase the achievements and impact of the NDEF programs and to celebrate partnerships which has lasted for nearly a decade. It was an opportunity to bring up lessons learned in the quest to improve access to sustainable energy solutions across Sierra Leone. The project's transformational energy uses for Sierra Leone Phase 1 uses renewable energies, technologies and digitalization for promoting green growth in Sierra Leone and the energizing development through the improving the lives of Sierra Leoneans through promotion of sustainable access to modern services. This was quite evident in the testimonies of beneficiaries of the projects.
Jalai University is a rural university and it's the best place we can do energy studies.
The German government and the European Union, who donated the solar energy through GIZ and the project to the school. Now, most of the students experience constant light in the school.
The global program manager, NDEV, Noor Nashbandi, said since 2017, 10.6 million euros was invested to provide access to energy and supported the availability of clean cooking access and low-carbon energy future. He said it has been a journey that has helped reshape the energy landscape and practically and powerfully powered local economies.
And since 2005, just to share a few numbers with you, NDEF has reached more than 36 million people with modern energy access.
Development partners express appreciation on the implementation of NDEF programs, which have been implemented by GIZ in Sierra Leone. A multi-donor partnership between the Netherlands Directorate General for International Cooperation, the Norwegian Agency for Development and Cooperation, the Federal Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development, and the European Union, which is co-financing the TUSL project Sierra Leone. The Minister of Energy, Cyril Harold Grant, congratulated the Energizing Development NDEF Sierra Leone for its achievements and impact in improving access to sustainable energy solutions in Sierra Leone. He reaffirmed government's commitment for the initiative on sustainable use of renewable energy.
Our partnership with the government of Germany and the European Union in the energy sector continues to grow stronger. Following discussions with our development partners, the government of Germany has agreed to support a new initiative, the sustainable use of renewable energy projects, which we've heard about, SHORE.
The implementing agency GIZ, through the country director for Sierra Leone and Liberia, Raphael Franklin, thanked NDEV for entrusting the GIZ with the mandate of successfully implementing its programs over the 9-year period. SLBC, Dennis Fraser reporting.
National Coordinator of the Civil Rights Coalition, Alfonso Mali, has called on the current executive of the Sierra Leone Bar Association to ensure a free, fair and transparent election in the coming days. According to Mr. Manley, several concerns raised by members of the association could undermine confidence in both the institution and the credibility of its electoral process. He made these remarks during SLBC's morning coffee program in Freetown.
The Sierra Leone Bar Association is one of the oldest professional legal bodies in West Africa that has produced many distinguished legal minds over the years across Africa and the world at large. However, recent concerns have emerged regarding the credibility and transparency of the association's electoral processes. Concerns bordering regularization, subscription payment, and voter verification processes ahead of the election have strongly emerged. Some lawyers alleged that after making payment at the bank, they were unable to submit their payment slips at the bar secretariat because the treasurer was reportedly absent, leaving no official available to process their receipts. Speaking on the issue, Civil Rights Coalition Coordinator Alfonso Manley urged the current executive to take the necessary steps to ensure a credible and transparent election.
Our motivation, we have taken note of what happened in Kenema during the last elections. We think the conduct of those lawyers fall below the belt, and we don't want it to happen. So we are taking some kind of preventive measures as civil society to ensure we set the record straight and to raise several concerns. So if you have to go through a process of election, that election should be credible, should be fair, should be transparent.
Mr. Manley described the legal profession as one of the most respected sectors in the country and said members of the bar are expected to.
And away from there, access to quality health care remains a challenge for many health facilities across Sierra Leone due to limited medical equipment and resources. In a bid to improve healthcare delivery and support vulnerable patients, entrepreneur and philanthropist John Brewer has donated a range of medical supplies to hospitals and health centers in Bo District and Aberdeen Women's Center in Freetown. Esther Nene Kamara has more.
So I officially hand over these supplies to the government hospital.
The windfall includes oxygen cylinders, wheelchairs, crutches, neonatal respiratory, laboratory supplies, blood pressure machines, and other essential medical equipment aimed at improving patient care and supporting healthcare workers in the delivery of services. Beneficiary institutions include the Aberdeen Women's Center in Freetown, Bo Government Hospital, and a number of community health centers across Bo District. John Brewer said the support was motivated by his desire to give back to society and contribute to strengthening the country's healthcare system. He noted that many patients, particularly vulnerable groups, continue to face difficulties accessing adequate medical support due to shortage of essential equipment.
Being that our country is lagging behind in terms of healthcare, the overall efficiency and delivery system, healthcare system, we lag way behind out of 191 countries. So this is just my own way of helping. I've always had the intention to assist my country in whatever little way.
A donation of crutches, wheelchairs, and a bag of rice was made to the Milton Magai Cheshire Home in Bo City. Beneficiaries expressed appreciation for the gesture, describing it as timely and significant.
Definitely, we appreciate that so much, and we are going to use it deliciously and ensure that where it's supposed to be rendered, it happens. So it means a lot for us. So which is why we, as a management, we appreciate it and definitely will put it in a good use.
They said the items will help improve service delivery, enhance patients' comfort, and also address some of the challenges faced by healthcare providers. The donation forms part of John Brewer's ongoing humanitarian efforts to support healthcare and community development initiatives across the country. For SLBC, Esther Nene Kamara reporting.
Pilgrims visit the mosque and gravesite of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, to show respect and offer prayers. The process marks the completion of the pilgrimage journey to the Holy Land.
Thousands of pilgrims traveling for Hajj and Umrah visited Al-Masjid Nabawi in Medina to offer prayers at the Mosque of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The mosque, the second holiest site in Islam, draws Muslims from around the world to perform the 5 daily prayers, with many seeking to pray in the Rauda area between the Prophet's pulpit and his burial chamber. The visit to Medina is traditionally made either before or after the rite of Hajj in Mecca as part of the broader pilgrimage journey. Within the mosque complex lies Al-Rauda and Al-Sharifa, where the gravesite of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace be upon him, is located alongside the graves of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq and Umar bin al-Khattab. Pilgrims observed strict etiquette at the site, offering salam greetings while maintaining silence and order within the masjid and the grave sites. Access to the immediate area around the graves is regulated to ensure respect and allow pilgrims and visitors the opportunity to pay their respect in a serene environment. For many pilgrims, the visit to Al-Masjid Al-Nabawi and the Prophet's grave site was an emotional culmination of their spiritual journey. The experience is marked by increased prayers, reflection, and remembrance of Prophet's life and teachings of Islam. Officials and management of the mosque provide guidance, crowd control, and services to accommodate the large number of pilgrims and visitors across the world that come daily to connect with this central place in Islamic history and faith. As pilgrims complete their pilgrimage rites, they will soon depart from the holy land of Mecca to their various countries. SLBC News, Yusuf Mosire Suma reporting.
Well, it's now time for a segment, beginning with our international news.
In the international news, the U.S. has said it hit Iranian military sites over the weekend, while Tehran said it responded by targeting a U.S. base, marking the third escalation in a week around the Straits of Hormuz. U.S. Central Command said it launched self-defense strikes in response to aggressive Iranian actions, which included a U.S. drone being shot down over international waters. The strikes mark the latest exchange between the two sides after negotiations on a deal to end their month-long war failed to advance over the weekend, with U.S. media reporting Trump had requested changes to its terms. The country's chief negotiator has said on Sunday that Tehran would not agree to any deal unless Iranian rights were fully secure. France intercepted a sanctioned oil tanker suspected of being part of Russia's so-called shadow fleet, which UK supports. French President Emmanuel Macron has said officers boarded the cargo in the Atlantic, which maritime authorities said had been flying a false flag when it was detained around 400 nautical miles west of Brittany. A British helicopter provided support during the operation, the UK Ministry of Defense said. The Kremlin said the illegal seizure was bordering on international piracy. Macron said the operations, which took place in international waters, had been undertaken while allies, including the UK, in strict compliance with the law of the sea. Israel's prime minister has ordered attacks on the southern suburbs of Lebanon's capital, Beirut, as the conflict with the Iran-backed armed group Hezbollah continues to escalate. Benjamin Netanyahu said terrorist targets in the Hezbollah stronghold of Daniel would be struck in response to attacks on Israeli civilians and other violations of a U.S. brokered ceasefire announced in April that has failed to end the fighting. A senior Lebanese government official told newsmen that it was relying on U.S. mediation efforts to pressure Israel to end its own violations and prevent further civilian casualties. According to a U.S. official, he proposed that as a first step, Lebanese officials should pressure Hezbollah to stop its attack on Israel, and that in return, Israel will refrain from escalation in Beirut. And finally, in the international news, the Nigerian Union of Teachers called an open-ended strike from Monday in the state of Oyo in protest at the kidnapping in mid-May of dozens of children and their teachers. Kidnappings from ransoms is an ongoing battle for authorities in northern Nigeria, but the mass abductions were unusual for Oyo, one of Nigeria's most populous states. The Nigerian Union of Teachers has urged primary and secondary school teachers in Oyo State to withdraw their services from schools till further notice. The union said the strike was in protest against the continued detention of our colleagues and learners by the abductors, which any clear sign of their timely rescue and safe release. But that's all in the international news. My name is Francis Banner.
From the international news, let's join our sports desk for some latest updates.
Hello there and welcome along to the sporting updates that keeps you in the know, and in fact the very best in local and international sports on the SLBC. Today we begin with Leon Stars. Now Gaffer John Kista has announced squad for the Liberia friendly, while the caretaker boss is hoping to have a field day with a new gem who are rising in the game.
How did I manage to put this in the shortest possible time? I think I'm very, what is it I can say about players in Sierra Leone? You know I've been here, most of these boys have transitioned for a very long time, which takes me to David Emmett. I know you showed concern about the boy in Edwards. This is where sometimes we have to look at, when we're talking about players, we look at positions, okay? If you see for every position, there is 2 players, apart from the goalkeeping, where we've got 3. When we look at the players that are playing in Jesus' position at this moment in time, I think it's a little bit too early to bring him in ahead of Bakayoko, Daniel Kanu, Mustafa Bundu, and Gandhi. Do you understand? So we cannot overload one single position in terms of what we do. Again, if you look at position-wise, because we've struggled around the goalkeeping where Mamadou is not coming, we've took the headless goalkeeper, who's done very, very well. So this is how it works sometimes when it comes to positions. So yes, it's done very, very well, don't get me wrong. But at this moment in time, there are players that are relevant. So it's just got to be patient. It's got a big future right.
Yeah, Coach, do you are aware of Mohamed Bouya that is just coming from an injury?
No, he's not coming from an injury. I think that person I am here every day, 70 o'clock, so I know exactly what's going on.
Okay.
So it's good. So again, on that basis, Bouya doesn't play centre forward. Just to play centre forward. We're talking about 25.
Okay, so we'll take the last.
In another development, mixed reaction among Sierra Leonean fans regarding the appointment of caretaker boss John Kista.
Okay, my name is Alusain Kama. I also feel good because anything in life na person na get. We say na this kind of pattern we go dey papa football na Saloya, it no go easy for we. Mohamed Kalon don't start well. It no mean say if he gets outside, he falls short, so na for pull and one thing go. We will learn for let we get patient for certain things. I believe say, especially like football, we will do well. Like John Kista would and give so. All what we know say na immediately. What I want to ask again, you want the way when are they being come back? What you make them be full and it?
Me na Abraman Nabi. In the other team now, Napoleon Paul back. They want me go be back like I be the force. If I watch John Kista, they never take me where we go for football. But when we make a long can, this few times, we know say take me. But when make the one finger we make a long, because we make a long then. Then for say, this me bobo, this me bobo. I do something, me bobo, we make a long take la bend. I mean the one finger. The one come to this about because John Kista now, in the take la bend day, in take la bribe day.
My name Bob Sinkase. Well, for this game, because just like when they say caretaker, you know, permanent, you know, how about permanent, they say, yeah, and they don't be somebody now actually. But for me, Kalon, let the player candy back. Because initially, everybody don't know about him. He's hardworking. He don't present this country on another side, I mean, he don't try a lot. So for me, that man a caretaker, but if any negotiation come, let them get on to Kalon back.
Okay, my name is Lancer Namansari. I've been fishing at Kalon and for being on put today because I have fished go able put salon football go before because I once of a player they know as of sufferation inside the game you go able scout for the get sober player there. But John Kista, I mean an officer is a be any team and football business. So then just for the baffle we back.
one, everybody's surprised. But like, forget Kista about the appointment, the job. I believe since I'm going to have to go gladly because we watch Kista back now, we don't push Salon football, one way or the other. Yeah, if you look inside Salon, they play, take good Nations Cup, even though not before you go far, but it's a game we play. Although yes, at the end of the day, they're going to sack them back, but I'm not getting experience for the game. So if you come back as for the meantime, I think team coach right now for take over the team. I think it's a job for the champion to see how best we go the team back.
My name is Ali, but my nickname we people are used to now Soj. The message, Kalon, not the right person. Yes, just like we see na caretaker, it can be say Kista go play these 2 games, a camp, and drop and then take Mohamed Kalon back. Mohamed Kalon are the right person.
Okay, so what's your expectation for New Stadium 2 games?
Well, the 2 matches na victory. Na victory. Yeah.
My name is Conte. Support the idea we can be selected with the Wangi or Don Kista for become as a caretaker for coach New Star in terms of the league. And a bland one, even though say league sometimes things can change per league. But as far as if it cannot, maybe the other institution was it will change, then it will determine more for win and trophies then.
And that's NCR Update, and thank you so much for watching. See you next time.
Well, many thanks to our sport desk. And now to end the news, the main points again. National Coordinator of the Civil Rights Coalition, Alfonso Manley, has urged the current executive of the Sierra Leone Bar Association to conduct a free, fair and transparent election, citing concerns raised by members that could affect confidence in the association and the credibility of the electoral process. Persons living with disabilities at Kisi Dockyard in the east end of Freetown have raised several concerns over issues affecting them, including poor road network and wash facility, among others. They also drew the attention of government and other humanitarian organizations to come to their aid amid their poor living conditions. And finally, residents of Gaza community along the mountain court in Freetown are calling for urgent government intervention following repeated accidents, falling rocks and erosion whenever it rains heavily. They say this continues to endanger lives and property. Well, that's how we wrap up this edition of News Hour from the SLBC. I have been your anchor, Esther Susanette Bassi. Thanks for watching. Continue to stay glued to the public service broadcaster.